I initiated a secret investigation into the decrepit town of Innsmouth, Massachusetts, a former seaport isolated from the nearby towns by vast, desolate salt marshes, after I fled the town on July 16, 1927. The air had been thick with an unspeakable dread, an unshakable feeling that something vile lurked beneath the surface of that place. It gnawed at my thoughts, compelling me to bring the truth to light. The investigation, prompted by my haunting memories, ultimately led to the arrest and detention of many of Innsmouth's residents in concentration camps. A submarine was even dispatched to torpedo the nearby Devil Reef, an event the press misreported as mere prohibition liquor raids. But those events were only the surface of the horrors I had unearthed. Let me take you back to the moment that sparked my obsession with Innsmouth, a town that would haunt my thoughts and dreams. As a 21-year-old student at Oberlin College, I had taken a tour across New England, eager to explore the ghostly tales that surrounded Innsmouth, tales I could not dismiss as mere superstition. I was drawn to the whispers of the locals, who spoke in hushed tones of dark rituals, strange inhabitants, and an oppressive atmosphere that seemed to swallow all light and hope. Each word dripped with the weight of generations, an urgent warning from the living about the dead. While waiting for the bus that would take me to Innsmouth, I busied myself in Newburyport, gathering what little information I could about the town's shadowy history. The stories were laced with superstition, warning of the horrors that lurked within. Innsmouth had once been a thriving port and shipbuilding centre during the colonial and post-revolutionary periods, but the War of 1812 had struck a devastating blow, disrupting shipping and sending the town into a downward spiral. Among the townsfolk's tales was the story of Obed Marsh, a local merchant who had built a profitable gold refinery, but only managed to hasten the town's decline. In 1845, a mysterious epidemic wiped out half of Innsmouth's population, leaving behind only whispers of its former glory. Marsh, however, left an even darker legacy. He founded a pagan cult known as the Esoteric Order of Dagon, which became the primary religion of the town, steeped in ancient and forbidden rites. Outsiders, including Census Bureau agents and school inspectors, were met with hostility, and I could sense the palpable fear that clung to the air like a shroud. When I finally arrived in Innsmouth, I was struck by the eerie stillness that enveloped the town. The streets were nearly deserted, lined with dilapidated buildings that seemed to lean in on themselves, as if the very structure of the town were collapsing under the weight of its secrets. The air was saturated with the foul odour of dead fish, a stench that clung to my clothes and filled my lungs with a sense of unease. Each breath felt heavy, as if I were inhaling the very decay of the town, a reminder of the life it once held and the darkness that now reigned. As I wandered through the decaying streets, I noticed the townspeople, their gait peculiar, shambling, their bodies bearing the marks of some grotesque lineage. They had narrow heads with flat noses and bulging, starey eyes that seemed to watch me with a mix of curiosity and contempt. It was as if they were judging my very presence, weighing my worth against their own twisted heritage. The shadows stretched around me, casting ominous shapes that danced in the corners of my vision, hinting at the malevolent forces that ruled this place. The only resident who appeared even remotely normal was a grocery store clerk from neighbouring Arkham, transferred there by the chain. He seemed reluctant to engage, but I pressed him for information, gathering fragments of the town's dark history. He handed me a crude map of Innsmouth, and mentioned the name of Zadok Allen, a very elderly local drunkard who might share valuable knowledge if I could entice him with a drink. After some searching, I found Zadok in a shadowy corner of a tavern. The man was a relic of a bygone era, his eyes clouded with the fog of age and inebriation. I offered him a bottle of whiskey, hoping it would loosen his tongue. He accepted eagerly, and as he took his first swig, I felt a tingle of anticipation mixed with dread, for I knew that what I was about to learn might plunge me deeper into the abyss of Innsmouth's history. As the whiskey worked its magic, Zadok began to reveal the horrors that lay behind Innsmouth's facade. He spoke of Obed Marsh's travels to the Caroline Islands, where he discovered a Kanak tribe on the island of Pompeii. The tribe, he explained, practiced human sacrifices to a race of immortal fish-like humanoids known as the Deep Ones. My heart raced as I listened, dread settling heavily in my gut. Marsh had returned to Innsmouth, lured by the promise of wealth and power, and had founded a cult that mirrored the practices of the Kanak. As I listened, a chill coursed through me, for the implications were more terrifying than I had imagined. Zadok continued, recounting how the Kanak had bred with the Deep Ones, producing hybrid offspring who appeared as normal humans in their youth, but would eventually transform into the Deep Ones themselves, leaving the surface world behind to live in ancient underwater cities. During hard times, Marsh's cult had performed similar sacrifices, begging for favors from the Deep Ones in exchange for bountiful fish hauls and precious jewels. But when Marsh and his followers were arrested, the Deep Ones retaliated, attacking Innsmouth and decimating its population. The survivors had no choice but to join the cult, their lives forever entwined with the dark rituals of their ancestors. A chill ran down my spine as I contemplated the depths of their depravity. Zadok's voice trembled as he spoke of forced breeding between the townspeople and the Deep Ones, creating a new generation of hybrids destined to return to the depths of the sea and live in the submerged city of Thlai, located beneath the very devil reef that lurked offshore. The town was now under the dominion of Marsh's grandson, Barnabas, a grotesque figure almost fully transformed into a Deep One. As the evening wore on, I felt the weight of Zadok's words settle heavily in my stomach. He warned me that the Deep Ones had designs on the surface world, plotting to use Shoggoths to conquer or transform it. The very thought sent a wave of nausea through me, a visceral reaction to the horrors that lingered in the shadows. Suddenly, he looked toward the water, his expression shifting to one of terror. Strange waves were approaching the dock, he claimed, and urged me to leave town immediately. A mixture of fear and disbelief coursed through me, and I found myself dismissing his warnings as the ravings of a drunkard. But as I stepped out of the tavern, a deep unease settled over me. I could not shake the feeling that I had stumbled into a nightmare from which there would be no escape. The shadows seemed to pulse around me, drawing closer with each step. Later that evening, I was informed that the bus was experiencing engine trouble, leaving me no choice but to spend the night in a musty, dilapidated hotel. The room was dark and oppressive, filled with the scent of mildew and decay. I lay awake, my mind racing with visions of Innsmouth's twisted history, when suddenly I heard noises at my door, as if someone were trying to enter. Panic surged through me, and I wasted no time escaping through the window. I slipped into the darkness of the night, darting through the streets as the town erupted into chaos, a hunt for me taking place in the shadows. At times, I imitated the peculiar shamble of the Innsmouth locals, avoiding search parties that patrolled the streets. As I moved deeper into the night, I stumbled toward the railroad tracks, my heart pounding in my chest. Suddenly I heard them, a procession of deep ones passing before me. Against every instinct I opened my eyes, compelled to see the grotesque beings that had haunted my thoughts. What I saw was beyond description. They had grey-green skin, fish-like heads, gills on their necks, and webbed hands, their eyes unblinking and alien. They communicated in croaking voices that sent a chill down my spine, their very existence a blasphemy against nature. Horror overwhelmed me, and I fainted, slipping into darkness. When I finally regained consciousness, I found myself alone and unharmed beneath the harsh midday sun, a stark contrast to the nightmare I had just witnessed. Once I returned to Arkham, the weight of my experiences propelled me to alert government authorities about Innsmouth's sinister activities. I was determined to expose the truth, but doubt gnawed at my mind. To my shock, I discovered that my grandmother was related to Obed Marsh's family, though the origins of her mother remained shrouded in mystery. My uncle had visited Arkham previously to research our ancestry before taking his own life with a gunshot, leaving behind unanswered questions that haunted my family. I returned home to Toledo, Ohio, burdened by my newfound knowledge and driven to uncover the truth about my family's past. As I delved into my family tree, I unearthed a shocking revelation. I was a descendant of Marsh through his second wife, Lee. With each passing day, I began to feel the changes within me, a gradual transformation into something that was no longer fully human. The fear that had gripped me in Innsmouth began to resurface in my dreams. In those dreams, I glimpsed my grandmother and Lee, both awaiting me in the shadowy depths of Unveil. The city had been damaged but not destroyed by the submarine attack. They spoke of the deep ones remaining submerged for now, but their return was inevitable. A return to reclaim the surface world for the tribute that great Cthulhu craved. Their voices echoed in my mind, a haunting lullaby that beckoned me to join them in the darkness. One night, I caught a fleeting glimpse of a Shoggoth in my dreams, an amorphous mass of eyes and tentacles, a writhing mass of pure horror that threatened to consume me. I awoke in a cold sweat, my heart racing, and stared into the mirror. The reflection staring back was a twisted mockery of my former self. I had acquired the infamous Innsmouth look. Panic surged through me, and I wanted nothing more than to escape this fate. I purchased an automatic, an archaic term for a semi-automatic pistol, with the intent to end my suffering. But in that moment I faltered, unable to go through with it. As I sit here now on the precipice of madness, I can feel the weight of my ancestors pressing down upon me. I cannot escape what I have become. My mind spirals into darkness as I confront the truth of my heritage. The fear that once paralyzed me has transformed into acceptance. I am part of something larger, something monstrous. In my final moments of clarity, I resolved to break my cousin out of the sanatorium where he languishes, even further transformed than I. Together, we shall seek solace in the depths of Unveil, where our true legacy awaits. The darkness calls to me, an alluring whisper promising power and belonging beneath the waves. As I prepare to embrace my fate, I can hear the echoes of the deep ones beckoning, their voices growing louder, and I'm compelled to answer.